Some people disappear, others leave behind echoes. Emily Carter was 17 when she vanished from a quiet town in Ontario, Canada. It was the summer of 1979. The kind of summer where the air felt heavy and the woods behind the Carter family's cabin whispered with secrets no one wanted to hear. Emily wasn't the type to run away. She was quiet, thoughtful, always with a notebook in her hands. She loved the forest. She often wrote poems about it. Her parents thought it was just teenage imagination. But on August 18th, everything changed. That morning, Emily told her parents she was going for a walk. Nothing unusual. She did it often. She grabbed her journal, her backpack, and disappeared into the trees. She never came back. Her father, Thomas, went looking after an hour. He called her name. He followed the path she usually took, but there was no sign of her. No footprints, no broken branches, just silence. By sunset, the police were involved. The search lasted days. Dozens of volunteers combed the forest. Dogs sniffed the trails. Helicopters flew overhead. Nothing. No blood. No clothes. No diary. Emily had vanished completely. Rumors started to spread. Some said she'd been kidnapped. Others whispered she ran off with a secret boyfriend. A few even believed the forest had taken her. One neighbor, an old woman named Mrs. Holloway, said she saw something strange the night before Emily disappeared, a dim light flickering between the trees. She claimed it was not human. Most people ignored her. In the end, the police had no leads. Emily Carter was listed as a missing person. Her case went cold. Years passed. Her parents moved away. Her name faded from newspapers. Only a few still remembered her, but something was waiting. Something hidden beneath the moss and silence of the forest. In October of 2014, 35 years after Emily disappeared, something strange happened. A man named Daniel Brooks, a retired park ranger, was walking his dog through the old forest near the Carter family's cabin. The place had been abandoned for decades. Most people avoided it. Locals said it felt wrong. That day, Daniel's dog ran off the trail, barking wildly. When Daniel followed, he found something half buried under a fallen tree. It was a small leather-bound book, moldy, dirty, but still intact. He opened it. The first page said, "Property of Emily Carter. If found, please return." Daniel froze. He knew the name. Everyone from that town knew. Emily's face had been on missing posters for years. He took the diary home, cleaned it gently, and read through it that night. It started like any teenage journal. Poems about nature, little stories, doodles. But around the middle, things changed. Her writing got messy. Shorter sentences, strange drawings, repeated words like, "They're watching," and "Don't trust the trees." One entry stood out. "I hear them outside at night. Not animals. They whisper my name." Daniel brought the diary to the police. They didn't know what to make of it. The pages were real. The ink had faded naturally. But how had it survived all these years in the open? Who, or what, had kept it hidden? And most disturbing of all, the last entry was dated August 20th, 1979, 2 days after Emily disappeared. The news about the diary spread quickly. Local reporters caught wind of it within days. "Missing girl's diary found after 35 years," the headlines read. But it wasn't just the rediscovery that shocked people. It was what the diary contained. Online forums picked up the story. Reddit threads exploded. True crime YouTubers started covering the case. People dissected every word Emily had written. Many focused on one specific entry. "They don't walk, they slide. No footsteps, no breath." What did that mean? Some believed Emily had suffered a mental breakdown. Isolation in the woods, fear, maybe hallucinations. But others weren't so sure. A few locals claimed they too had seen strange things in those woods over the years. Shadows that didn't move right. Whispers with no source. Animals behaving strangely near the old Carter property. The case suddenly had new energy. The police reopened the file. Forensic experts examined the diary, trying to determine if someone had planted it. But everything pointed to one chilling truth. It had been there the whole time. No one could explain how it had survived 35 winters untouched under a fallen tree. But even more unsettling was what came next. Daniel, the man who found the diary, began receiving anonymous letters in his mailbox. Short messages, all typed. "You shouldn't have taken it. Leave it where it belongs. She's still there." Daniel moved out of town 2 weeks later. He never gave an interview, never answered questions. Some say he was terrified. Others think he knew more than he admitted. When the police finally released part of the diary to the public, they left several pages out. Officially, they said those entries were too damaged or illegible. But a retired officer, who asked to remain anonymous, told a different story. He claimed that some pages were held back because they were disturbing. One page, he said, had a drawing, a crude sketch of a circle surrounded by symbols. In the center, a figure with no face, no hands, and long, jagged lines for arms. Next to the drawing, Emily had written, "They come when the forest is still. If I draw this, maybe they'll stay away." Another withheld page had a strange phrase repeated over and over. "I didn't go into the forest came into me." This is when the theories got darker. Online investigators started digging into the land records. Turns out the Carter family cabin had been built near an old settlement, one that burned down in 1897 under mysterious circumstances. No bodies were ever found. Some believe that place was cursed. Others think Emily may have found something she wasn't meant to see. A hidden place, a ritual site. A few Reddit users even claimed to have camped near the area and reported hearing humming at night and waking up with dirt on their hands. No one could explain it. But one thing was clear. Emily's case was no longer just a disappearance. It was something else entirely. A few months after the diary was found, a small documentary team decided to visit the forest where Emily had vanished. They weren't from a big network. Just 3 young filmmakers trying to make a name for themselves in the true crime scene. They called the project the Carter Case. They went in during daylight. They followed Daniel Brooks's original path. GPS tracked everything and set up motion sensor cameras near the old cabin ruins. At first, nothing happened. The footage showed trees, wind, birds. But on the second night, one of the cameras captured something strange. A figure partially hidden, standing completely still among the trees. It wasn't a person from the crew. The team confirmed they were all asleep at the time. The figure was tall, thin, with what looked like long arms, too long to be normal. It stood motionless for over 6 minutes. Then, without moving its legs, it simply wasn't there anymore, like it faded or slid behind something invisible. The footage was uploaded to YouTube, but later removed for violating community guidelines. No one from the team ever explained why. 2 of the filmmakers stopped responding to emails. The third, in a podcast months later, said, "It's not just a case. That forest, it's a mouth. And it's still hungry." Locals warned them not to go back. They listened. No one returned to that trail again. Not officially. But some say they still see lights between the trees on cold nights. Exactly where Emily once walked and never came back. In the winter of 2023, a young hiker named Sarah Mitchell went missing near the same forest where Emily disappeared decades earlier. Sarah was an experienced outdoors woman, familiar with the trails and the local wilderness. She told friends she was going to spend the weekend camping and exploring the old Carter cabin site, but she never returned. Her family reported her missing after she failed to check in. Search parties scoured the area using drones, helicopters, and trained dogs, but found no trace of Sarah. The case hit the local news, sparking fear and speculation. Some residents claimed Sarah had been warned by a mysterious figure seen near the forest's edge days before her trip. Others whispered about the curse that haunted the land. Then, strange messages started appearing on Sarah's social media accounts, posts she never made. One message read, "You should have stayed away." Another simply said, "The forest remembers." Police investigated the hacked accounts but found no leads. The eerie connection between Sarah's disappearance and Emily's case renewed interest online. True crime communities debated whether the forest held some dark secret that claimed victims across generations. Was it coincidence or something more sinister? The unanswered question lingered. Was the diary just the beginning? Weeks after Sarah vanished, a small backpack was found near the old cabin ruins. Inside were a few belongings: a flashlight, a worn-out map, and, most chilling, Sarah's journal. Her handwriting was neat, calm at first, but the last entries told a different story. The forest whispers at night. Shadows move when I'm not looking. I'm not alone. They watch me sleep. One page was smeared with dirt, as if someone tried to erase what was written. Another had a hastily drawn symbol, a spiral entwined with jagged lines. Local paranormal investigators claimed the symbol matched ancient indigenous markings, believed to ward off spirits. Others thought it was a warning. Sarah's journal ended abruptly on the night she disappeared. No final words, no goodbye. Her phone, however, was found farther down the trail, cracked and unusable. Digital forensics couldn't recover any data. Online communities speculated wildly. Was Sarah running from something? Or was she trapped? Then came the strangest detail. On one of Sarah's last social media posts, a blurred figure appeared behind her in a photo, barely visible but unmistakably there. No one knew who or what it was. The forest held its secrets tight. Months after Sarah's disappearance, a local historian named Margaret decided to dig deeper into the forest's past. She uncovered old letters from the late 1800s, mentioning a secret society that once met near the cabin site. A group obsessed with guarding the veil between worlds. Margaret believed Emily and Sarah had stumbled upon something they were never meant to find. One night, determined to face the truth, Margaret visited the forest alone. As she walked among the ancient trees, she felt a cold breeze and heard faint whispers. Suddenly, she found an old wooden box buried beneath the roots of a giant oak. Inside, letters from the secret society, warnings about a dark presence that consumes those who trespass. Margaret brought the box to the local museum. The community gathered for an event to reveal the discovery. At that moment, a faint voice echoed through the hall, chilling everyone. Leave the forest alone, or join us. No one knew if it was the wind, a prank, or something else. But one thing was clear. The forest's mystery was far from over. Emily's diary, Sarah's disappearance, and the shadowy figure in the trees were all pieces of a puzzle that might never be solved. The woods waited silently, guarding their secrets, waiting for the next whisper in the dark.